Hi there, my name's Ed, I'm a tea head, and today we're doing something very exciting once again. We are trying a tea. So we've moved on from raw pu'er and we're on to ripe pu'er, or cooked pu'er, or shu pu'er. It all means the same thing. We are talking about this stuff. This is the 2014 Menghai Golden Needle White Lotus Ripe from Green Tea Guru. I've got a bit of a ticket there stuck to my 50-gram portion. And before I get started, I was going to say that in my next video, I'll be trying the 2015 YS Green Miracle Ripe from Green Tea Guru. So if you'd like to taste this tea with me, then go ahead and get that tea. It's going to be in the description, as always. And a full write-up of every tea will be on my blog, so go check that out. So here we are with the tea. It's raining today. It's really terrible weather, so I think I'm almost a little bit happy about that because ripe pu'er is very kind of, I don't know, it's quite mellow. You know, you brew it, you do loads of infusions, and you kind of just sit here and just chill with shu. So yeah, I'm gonna get started, and I can talk while I do things. There's my strainer. What am I doing? Looking for my strainer. It's always here. Right, so just warming up this guy one quickly, so we can get a good sense of the aroma. Now, shu pu'er tends to be a little bit sort of fishy when it comes to aroma. So let's see how this works. A little bit of fishiness, but it's not terrible. I can't wear my glasses while I appreciate tea, or I blow steam into them. But there's kind of there's a warm smell. Like a fishiness is quite kind of hollow and quite almost like a sticky smell in my mind. Like, you know, it's kind of fishy and slimy. But there's a warmth. You know, I'm kind of thinking, it's like the first thing that came to my head was kind of like a roasted smell almost. But not roasted, not sort of smoky roasted, but kind of almost just like baked in a way, like. It's a really nice smell actually. Don't be put off by the fact that I said it was fishy, because it's really not that noticeable, and I think it actually almost adds to it. A little bit kind of, but it's a musky, but a good like warm musky, not. And there's a little bit of. There's a subtle sweetness to the smell, potentially a little bit of fruitiness. I'm excited about this tea. Yeah, so generally ripe pu'ers, you want to rinse quite well, just because they've been, well, you know, they're sort of a fermented tea, and you kind of, you know, you're at the risk of having that kind of sort of smell, let's say, that kind of fishy smell. Right, so going for the rinse. So we're back with, as always, 100-degree water. Wow, look at that colour. As close to boiling as I can get it. And with my porcelain guy 1, glass gongdabe, and my little fishy cup. There we go. Wow, this is just the rinse, but look at that. I can't really put it up to the light over here because there isn't much, because it's raining today. So there we go. So let's jump in. In fact, smell that wet leaf. Right, let's just put this in here to warm up. No fishiness. None at all. That's good. Yeah, but really, it's really developed the kind of that weird smell I was trying to describe is really developed. It's warm. It's kind of, yeah, like, I can't really describe what it smells like, but for me, it's kind of warm and welcoming. It's, again, a little bit woody, but in a, like when you kind of walk into a really nice, cozy pub, and like you kind of smell the kind of woodiness, and there's kind of all different, there's all different smells going on, but there's that kind of warm, comforting wood smell. That's really nice, actually. Generally, I mean, it's been a while since I've actually bought any choux pu'er, but usually you don't really get much from choux pu'er. It's just, it kind of tends to be quite musky and fishy and kind of dark, but I'm kind of excited to try this now, actually. More than I was already. There we go. I'm kind of experimenting with this little kind of technique of pouring water into the kind of the disc of the Gaiwan, just to kind of, just try and get it, as warm, as hot as possible. I have a bit of an obsession with brewing pu'er hot. I kind of make it my challenge to see how if I can keep it hot. I kind of wonder actually how hot. We're going for way too long. I'm getting distracted, but I kind of wonder how hot the water is. Like after it kind of pours out and goes into the kind of a bit of the colder brewing vessel. Unfortunately, this does tend to be a little bit more unstable, but that's fine. So the leaves are quite small, and there's quite a lot of broken leaf. So hopefully that won't impact too much. But wow, look at that colour! It's this kind of really deep red, kind of warm orange, brown. It's almost like brandy coloured. Like to me that looks like alcohol. Like there's, it's kind of something potent, How exciting. Right. So I didn't mention this in my last video, but I put it in the description. If you did go ahead and buy this tea, then cheers. I'm struggling to put my finger on anything in particular. Quite a satisfying mouthfeel in general. Yep, already getting a bit of kind of a mineral reaction, which is quite nice. I think the appeal of ripe pu'er is that, again, I haven't had much ripe pu'er, but it really, it's kind of a slow build, it's not just out the gate like amazing, just like like a horse at the races, it's not like, and you're just amazed. It's kind of you're kind of reflective. You're like I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, and then you have more and more infusions, and it changes, and you start getting affected by the psychoactive chemicals and the caffeine and everything else, and the minerals, and it's kind of more about the experience, I think, of drinking ripe than it is kind of the flavour. But let me just see if I can pinpoint exactly what I'm tasting. So there's that, that you get with all pu'ers. There's that bitterness, but it's not an astringent bitterness. It's a nice bitterness that you're welcoming into your mouth. It's not something that you're kind of trying to ignore, which is nice. There is that. I would say it's a bit muted, but that kind of warm, welcoming, woody kind of welcoming smell that I was talking about, it's there, but it's definitely muted, and it's a little bit, what is it? It's kind of, it's muted, but then again, I kind of feel like it's more raw. It's more, not raw puer, like more, like I'm kind of, it's almost like, you know, like if you walk into a bakery and you kind of smell kind of the, you know, the bread, and, you know, you kind of get that kind of ambient smell. And then I don't think anyone really does this, and I wouldn't recommend this if you do walk into a bakery, but if you actually just go up and like smell a bit of bread, you know, it's quite different from the kind of ambient smell. And you kind of pick up things which kind of intrigue you, and you're like, ooh, this is a bit interesting, but also it's a bit more raw, it's a bit more kind of, that's the word I'm using to describe it. It's just a bit more raw in terms of the when you're transferring from the aroma to the flavour, but it's a bit more muted as well. So it's kind of changed. I feel like it's less warm, but I mean, aroma is always really, really warm. I mean, other than that, it tastes like to me, again, I'm very inexperienced with cooked puer, and to me it just tastes like cooked puer. Right, see how well we can heat this up. But as I say, the first infusion of ripe puer is not what you're drinking puer for. It's not what you're drinking the tea for. You know, like a green or white tea, you know, that first infusion is going to be pretty good, and that's basically what you're going to be, you know, you're going to be looking for. But puer is much more than just that first infusion. So let's see how this develops, and I can already feel my kind of body reacting. I'm interested to give this another smell. I just can't. You know when you smell something that's too hot for me to handle right now. When you smell something, you just don't know what it is. Like, it's triggering memories, but just the feeling of memory, not actual memories. Like, I don't know if I'm sounding like totally insane right now, but like, it's familiar, but you have no idea where from, or like what exactly it is. So it's the feeling of familiarity, which is quite nice in a way, but also really infuriating because I want to know. I feel like it smells almost like a cologne or something, but I have no idea. You know, I have no idea what the actual kind of smell is. So obviously you'll have to go out and buy this tea, because I mean, I really can't transport you to this flavour and smell experience just with my words, but I'll try. Different. A more forthcoming. This sounds so crazy, but a more forthcoming warmth than before. So before it kind of felt like the tea was kind of stepping back, and I was going towards it. I was like, ooh, you know, can I give me something? Now it's like it's coming to me. That just sounds insane, but I think it'll make sense. Yeah, it's there. Like it's there. Like before, I was kind of confused and kind of looking for just in terms of my, like, you know, my senses. It's there now. And that whole experience of it being there has totally like removed my mind from what actually is there. Like what am I tasting now? I guess what I'm trying to say is it's got stronger or it's just like, you know, like after the first infusion, it just gets a bit more, like more tasteful. So warmth. That's just the overriding feeling I'm getting. Closer to the aroma that I originally described, which I described in terms of feelings, which I like. How does that help? I don't know, because obviously we have different feelings, but so there is that. What I consider to be kind of like a very ripe pu'er taste, a kind of, how do I describe it? It's minerally, but it's a different minerally. It's almost as if, like, it's almost something that you might expect if you like left a glass of water like outside or something, or like you kind of left a glass of water, or you had some like water from some weird source and you kind of drink it and you're like, this is not how I expect water to taste, but it like, it's not bad, you know. But obviously that's just like one element of the. For some reason, when I took when I had the first cup, I started feeling warmth near my ears. That's not something I tend to experience. And I can feel my body is like already like warming up. I've heard before that like drinking tea is kind of paradoxical, because if you're really stressed and you drink tea, it'll calm you. If you're really calm and lethargic and you drink tea, it'll energize you. And if you're really cold, then tea will warm you up. If you're really hot, then tea will cool you down. And there are explanations to that. But I think thinking about tea in that way, it's quite nice. It's like getting water everywhere. And here's a question that I struggled with, or kind of contemplated when I was first drinking tea. When should you drink tea? Like in the day, when is best? Because loose leaf tea, I'll be honest, it can be a bit potent. It's one of these things that you actually can't really drink on an empty stomach. Funny, I kind of sounds a bit strange, but if you drink it on an empty stomach, then that caffeine energy, like tea doesn't have a caffeine energy like coffee does, or like Red Bull or whatever. It's not like it's not a, let me just pour my tea out before I start getting into in-depth explanation. Such a beautiful colour. So the caffeine energy that you get from tea is not like coffee or Red Bull. And the way I describe, or the way I think about it, this has just come to my head just now. Like if you're in a car, let's say, and you're going along at, whatever, like 40 miles an hour. Like I don't drive, but you're going along at, just like a nice speed, like, in your day. Coffee is like putting the accelerator down, like to the floor, and you're like, oh my god, like you get this sudden surge, and then like you run out of fuel and you're like, boom, like, you're like the car like stalls or whatever, and it stops. Tea is very much like a really steady kind of, almost like it's so slow that you don't even notice it. Like it's not slow, but it's almost like you don't notice it. Like it's like if you're sitting in a passenger seat and you're just kind of not really like, just like looking around and da-da-da-da. Like if someone drinks coffee, it's like woo, and like you kind of hit the back of the seat, and you kind of know. Tea is like, you slowly speed up, and then you realize that you're at 70 miles an hour, and it's like, wow, like we're going really fast, and I'm feeling this way, but I just didn't even notice it happening. So yeah, that's kind of the tea energy that you get, and supposedly with this tea, there's definitely it's called a chatsi, as in cha qi. Sorry for that, which basically means tea energy. So, and God, I've just got too much to say. I want to talk about the tea and tea in general. I'll talk about tea first. So, yeah, tea energy. Some people say it's, so when like Chinese tea is very linked to Chinese medicine and Chinese culture and, you know, whatever else. And that fundamentally is quite different from our Western view of medicine, of health, of the body, of nature, or everything else. So, you know, we have like a very materialist view in the West. So if I say that I'm getting chatsi from a tea, oh, you know, like a West, you know, someone from England would be like, oh, so you're just, you know, you're experiencing the caffeine, right? But in an Eastern perspective, in a Chinese kind of perspective, I mean, qi, you know, it's kind of like a buzzword when it comes to like Chinese medicine and like, you know, all these kind of people who, all these Western people who, you know, want to get into this stuff. It's this kind of this like concept of energy. So there's kind of energy. I mean, I don't actually know, like for sure, like, you know, the kind of whole thing. But like, you know, maybe there's energy in the tea, or there's energy within you, which kind of gets reorganized and it kind of interacts with the tea in some way. Yeah, so that's kind of basically tea just makes you feel funny, but like a nice funny, not a bad funny. I'm definitely starting to, like, my head is starting to slow down. My body is starting to kind of mellow out. Yeah, but then again, it's also like this awareness, and this is why tea is used for meditation, because it's calming, but also, you know, heightens your awareness as well. So yeah, let me just give a quick. The tea's changed again, and it's really pleasant. More minerally, more overt minerally, like minerality. And there's that warmth as well. So this video is getting very long. I've had loads of fun tasting this tea so far and talking about tea. I will be having many more infusions of this tea, and I will be doing a write-up afterwards on this tea. Check out my blog for that. Next time I'm trying the 2015 YS Green Miracle from Green Tea Guru. And this was the 2014 Menghai Golden Needle White Lotus Ripe. Thank you very much, guys. Just drink some tea. Like, honestly, it's raining today and it's made me feel very happy. I'm in a great mood. I'll see you later.